From the earliest days, men have been fed stories about love and marriage. These aren't small lessons. They're entire cultural mantras. Find your soulmate. Fall head over heels. Get married. Settle down, and you'll live happily ever after. The fairy tale programming is everywhere: movies, bedtime stories, advertising, family, even in songs. By the time most boys grow into men, the belief is set in stone. Marriage is the ultimate romantic commitment, the reward for true love. A partnership of equals embarking on a life built together. It's powerful, intoxicating, and blinding. You go in feeling like a knight, ready to win the heart of your queen, expecting mutual love, deep respect, passionate loyalty. You're focused on her spirit, your shared memories, the promise of becoming a team, building a future side by side. But beneath the surface of romance lies a truth that almost no one mentions out loud. Modern marriage is not the love story you've been sold. It's a business transaction, cleverly disguised as forever love. You imagined a partnership, she saw an opportunity. You calculated risk with your heart, she calculated benefits with her head. Because while you're thinking about love and unity, she's thinking about security, stability, and lifestyle. You envision overcoming struggles together and sharing adventures. She's quietly evaluating your earning potential, checking whether your lifestyle satisfies her ambitions, comparing you not just to your peers, but to every well-dressed man on social media. You're planning to build together, she's asking what you've already built. This is the great fundamental mismatch between the sexes, and it puts men at a staggering disadvantage from the very start. You're playing by emotional rules, she's playing by economic ones. You're focused on soul, she's focused on survival, status, and social comparison. And because the culture never warns you, thousands of men are blindsided when they discover too late that forever is based not on love, but on performance and provision. Let's not confuse biology or history for malice. Survival is hardwired, and security is compelling. Men are designed to protect and provide. Women are biologically incentivized to seek the best possible deal for themselves and any potential children. But modern society has evolved into something radically different. Technology and social liberation have given women unprecedented mobility, power, and selection. But the instinct for security and status remains. What we call marriage is now a survival strategy optimized for the current climate. Love is the wrapping. Finance is the product inside. Women approach the marriage market as shrewd investors. They assess prospects, evaluate risk, calculate returns, negotiate the best possible contract. They're not gold diggers, they're making business decisions and wrapping them in the language of romance, because that's how the system expects them to play. Consider the simple reality of modern courtship. Women gravitate toward men with resources, ambition, stability, and financial acumen not because of aesthetics, but because they're strategizing for the long haul. Their preferences are predictable, not shallow. They're responding to incentives in their environment, exactly like any rational market agent. Women are praised for marrying up. No one criticizes a woman for seeking a high-value partner. Men, meanwhile, are encouraged to pursue love no matter what. One gender is coached to do due diligence, the other told to lead with your heart. What do men actually offer in the modern marriage contract? Let's get coldly practical. Primary financial support for the home, the roof, mortgage or rent, utilities, health insurance, car notes, daily expenses, retirement and security in old age, emergency funds and financial backup, upgrading or maintaining the lifestyle as peers improve theirs, covering vacations, entertainment, the occasional treat yourself spree, sometimes even bills for extended family, protection, emotional, physical and social, emotional leadership and stability, companionship, which you can get from friends, sexual, access almost guaranteed to decline after marriage, domestic, support and childcare often split or outsourced. Given modern gender roles, notice the pattern. Men mostly provide tangible, concrete, measurable value. Women, by contrast, often bring much more abstract, conditional benefits: companionship that diminishes without performance, sex that becomes rare or obligatory, domestic help that's negotiable, emotional support that shifts based on your ability to provide, respect, appreciation, loyalty, conditional. Withhold performance and watch the benefits evaporate. But the transaction is even more unbalanced. As time passes, the demands on the provider increase relentlessly: bigger houses, better cars, fancier vacations, more impressive peer comparisons, while the reciprocal benefits drop off a cliff. You find yourself in a deal where your obligations climb every year, but your compensation shrinks. What rational business would accept such terms? Here's the real-world test. Imagine walking into a store and paying with love for groceries. Go to the bank and try to pay your mortgage with affection. Try convincing a utility company to forgive your cell bill because your marriage is built on trust and connection. The reality is, the world runs on money, and the day-to-day responsibility for producing it falls primarily on men. Even in the most egalitarian homes, the illusion is profound. While you're writing poetry, she's calculating the lifestyle she expects. While you're preparing a romantic speech, she's reading about her friends' trips through Europe or watching influencers live in luxury and expecting you to match that standard. And with every passing day, thanks to social media, her expectations inflate. Every moment she scrolls, every new like or story sets the bar just a little higher. If you want to see the true anchor of her affection, let real adversity hit. Lose your job, watch your business fail, or fall behind your peer group. Within weeks, the temperature shifts. The patience, warmth, and admiration you once received cools. Criticism rises. Affection wanes. You need to try harder. Why don't you network like so and so? Maybe you should get a second job. Suddenly, that oath for better or worse becomes, you'd better get better. Worse isn't covered. Men are shocked when they wake up to find their marriage terms have shifted. But the terms were always written in invisible ink. Her loyalty never ran on love. It ran on options. As long as you are the best deal on the table, she sticks around. But let a new, higher status suitor appear, or let your fortunes dip significantly, and the calculus takes over. And here's the harshest realization for many women. Marriage is not about coming on the journey with you. It's about getting the reward after the journey is won. They're not interested in helping build the company. They want to be there for the ribbon cutting and the profit shares. Men constantly overestimate the number of women who want to invest in potential versus those hunting for returns on what's already established. So what is the modern man competing with? Not only the men in his own city or country. Every day, he's up against the highlight reels of the world: Instagram husbands, luxury influencers, men deep in debt pretending to have it all, reality TV show fantasies. His actual salary, hours, and effort have to keep up with a global illusion. And when he falls short, no emotion, no communication, no bouquet will change the reality. The modern world doesn't want your story. It wants your statement. Let's lay out the practical costs and risks men face in modern marriage. With no sugarcoating, every month, you pay far more than the ring, the mortgage, or the bills. You pay in constant effort, in the never-ending demand to do better, to achieve what the highlight reels of social media present, even if your reality is miles away. Your performance is judged against fantasy, not fact. Women today are bombarded by images of incredible lifestyles: European vacations, exotic handbags, surprise luxury cars, just because jewelry. They scroll through feeds of influencers jet-setting, friends celebrating birthdays at five-star hotels, colleagues buying new homes, and they internalize a single, unrelenting message: if she has this, I deserve this too. Social media has weaponized envy and turned marriage into chronic competition. Now think about that. Her expectations aren't based on your income, your job, or even your social class. They're shaped by the global marketplace of other women's curated dreams. The result? You're expected to provide not what you can afford, but what will keep her social circle and her own self-image satisfied. And if you falter, if you ever can't keep up, you're suddenly on the defensive. The mood in your home sours overnight. Criticism replaces gratitude. Impatience takes over for affection. Compliments for your efforts all but disappear. She can always point to another man real or online who does more. But that's just the surface. The real trap is in options, hers and yours. An attractive woman at any age has virtually unlimited suitors. She can try again in the dating market easily, at almost any stage of her life. If she is unhappy, she can reboot her life with the click of a button or a simple conversation. It's not you, it's me. There's a deep sense of security when you know that, at any moment. There are lifeboats available, exes, admirers, work husbands, trainers, Instagram DMs on standby. These aren't always fully realized affairs, but they're insurance policies. Emotional safety nets waiting for a signal. If you lose a job, fail a test, disappoint her fantasy, her options are ready and activated. For men, it's the opposite. Most men live in profound scarcity. Women know this. If you lose your wife, replacing her isn't just emotionally daunting, it's financially and logistically overwhelming. There's no line of women waiting at your door, no backup plans, no status lift from starting over. For average men, every relationship is an audition. She's the employer, you're the candidate. She is casting the role, you're auditioning. If you don't perform, someone else will. She negotiates from a place of abundance. You from desperation. You can't threaten to walk away not credibly because you know what it took to get here and how little leverage you have. She, meanwhile, is always aware of what she could command next. This underlying dynamic creeps into every aspect of married life, sex, intimacy, plans, even the kinds of conversations you feel permitted to have. And so, the contract itself is shockingly lopsided. Legally, emotionally, and financially, the weight is all on your shoulders. When divorce, which is now a coin flip probability, enters the picture, the imbalance crystallizes. You support her during the marriage by law. You support her after the marriage through alimony, sometimes for years, sometimes for a lifetime. You split all marital assets in half, no matter how hard you built or how little she contributed. You pay her legal fees if you're the greater earner. You might be required to keep her as your life insurance beneficiary to cover obligations. If you have kids, you'll pay substantial child support regardless of custody. If you miss a payment, the state's power is brought to bear, wages garnished, assets seized, even jail possible. On her side, no legal requirement to contribute financially, to attempt reconciliation, to maintain intimacy, or even to treat you with respect or kindness. She can end the marriage on a whim, face no penalty, and walk away with assets, income, and legal leverage. Often, she'll start a new relationship almost immediately, buffered by court-sponsored support. Divorce is a business, and the legal industry profits from your misfortune. Lawyers are incentivized to prolong conflict, amplify your losses, and drain your resources. Family courts overwhelmingly favor women in asset division, child custody, and practically everything else. Accusations, even without evidence, can be enough to restrict your rights, damage your reputation, and end your relationship with your children. What are the hard numbers? Wedding, $35,000 average US cost, higher housing, insurance, and living expenses by default, children's costs, education, extracurriculars, health emergency fund requirements, now doubled, retirement savings now split. Goals now harder, 50% or more of net worth lost in a split, potential 20 to 40% of future income. To alimony, child support $15,000, $50. Zero in legal fees if it gets contentious, possible long-term loss of home, stability, and even connection with your children. Most marriages, when analyzed as a business transaction, are an absolute disaster. For men, a massive, open-ended investment with diminishing returns and infinite liability. No prudent investor would sign this contract unless, of course, He was never told the real terms or had been conditionally programmed to believe love conquers all. But men sign anyway because they believe the myth and discover the truth only when it's too late. This is why more and more men are simply saying no deal. They're waking up to the idea that commitment, fulfillment, partnership, and even fatherhood are available without signing a one-sided legal contract that can destroy everything they worked for with the stroke of a pen. So, given the odds, what are the alternatives? If you're truly analyzing marriage as a business deal, and every rational man should, the only logical path is self-protection, awareness, and strategic decision-making. Let's look at the options available to men outside the traditional marriage contract. Retain 100% of your income and earnings. Any money you make stays yours. Investment, travel, experiences. Every dollar is directed toward your future. Make life decisions for yourself. You control where you live, your daily schedule, how and when you work, your risk tolerance, your investments. No need to account for someone else's never-ending upgrades or social media standards. Avoid legal and financial pitfalls. No risk of losing half your assets, paying decades in alimony or support, enduring court battles for property, money, or time with your children. Embrace relationships without blind contracts, cohabitation, dating, even raising a family. Many men achieve these without legally binding themselves to a system that can destroy them. You have the ability to leave when boundaries are crossed or the deal becomes toxic. You protect your financial base. Maintain authentic power dynamics and emotional health. When the threat of contract-based destruction disappears, respect and loyalty must be earned. Net of coercion or court logic. This dynamic is healthier for both parties, removing the option imbalance that ruins so many marriages. For many, seeking relationships in countries or cultures where marriage is still truly partnership-based, where respect, loyalty, and mutual effort are the norm, proves far happier and less risky, especially for high-performing or ambitious men. Before you commit, ask yourself honestly, can you afford to lose half of your assets, your home, and perhaps years of future income? Are you ready to pay alimony if things go sour? Does she contribute meaningfully and consistently? Has she shown loyalty and respect in your toughest moments, not just the good ones? Are her expectations about lifestyle and finances grounded in reality or fantasy? Do you understand your legal exposure? Divorce, custody, asset division, court costs. What unique value does marriage bring you that true companionship or partnership doesn't offer? Are you doing it for social pressure or because the deal actually helps you thrive? What is your real opportunity cost? Time, money, health, freedom lost. In the contract, do you have a backup plan in case the worst happens? Have you talked to a divorce attorney even before the paperwork is signed? If you can't answer these questions truthfully and confidently, don't sign. Not for romance, not for sex, not for kids, not for social approval. There is no prize for ignoring reality, only pain for the naive. Here's the core truth. Modern marriage is overwhelmingly structured to benefit women and transfer wealth, security, and opportunity from men via legal, cultural, and emotional leveraging. And it's all built atop the lie of the fairy tale, the promise that love conquers all, and marriage is happiness. The true outcome, for millions of men, is financial devastation, emotional depletion, and permanent disenfranchisement. It's entirely possible right now to build a life full of love, partnership, and happiness without ever risking the legal and emotional carnage marriage now entails. There is no rule that says you must transfer your future into someone else's hands. You can choose partnership, protection, and parenthood with wisdom, not with blind optimism. If, after full awareness, you still choose to marry, let it be with eyes wide open. Negotiate your terms. Demand equal risk and contribution. Put every agreement in writing. Advocate for prenups, asset protection, clarity about expectations, and built-in contingency plans. Treat marriage for what it is, an economic contract with powerful emotional consequences. The men who thrive are those who study risk, who choose agency, and who never barter their lives for stories and pressure that do not serve their futures. The men who suffer are those who, in the fog of romance and the chorus of cultural expectation, ignore uncomfortable truths and pay the price for illusions. So, as you stand at the crossroads, ask yourself, would a seasoned businessman sign a contract with unlimited liability, invisible exit clauses, biased enforcement, and all the risks paid up front? Would he sign while blinded by emotion, social pressure, or the hollow promise of happily ever after? True love can exist. True partnership can be built, but neither require you to destroy yourself for someone else's financial and emotional whims. Protect yourself. Discover real value. Sign only the deals that honor your work, your worth, your future, and help other men do the same. If this message opened your eyes, share it with a brother. Smash the like, subscribe, and help spread truth before it's too late for someone else. In life and in love, choose wisely.